In this video, we're going to talk about something very important, the private matters that older adults should never expose too openly. As we get older, we often become more open about our lives. We share our past, our worries, our health, even our family problems. And while being honest is a beautiful thing, sometimes being too open can quietly harm our peace, our dignity, and the way others see us. In this video, we'll uncover 5 private matters that you should always handle carefully. Each one can make a big difference in how you're treated, how confident you feel, and how peacefully you live. These lessons come from real experiences that many seniors in America face, things like money struggles, family disagreements, and the urge to share too much about health or past regrets. You'll see that a little discretion can go a long way in keeping your dignity strong and your life peaceful. Before we start, I'd love to know, where are you watching from today? Just drop your state or city in the comments below. Point 1. Financial struggles. Let's start with one of the most sensitive areas in life, money. As we get older, talking about finances can become a natural part of conversations. Maybe you're discussing retirement savings, Social Security, or even how much things cost these days. But here's something to remember. Not everyone needs to know the full picture of your financial situation. In fact, being too open about your money, whether it's how much you have or how little, can sometimes create more problems than it solves. It's human nature to want to share, especially when you feel stressed or worried. Maybe you've told a neighbor that you're struggling to keep up with bills, or you've mentioned to someone that you have a bit of savings tucked away. But once that information is out, it's out for good, and not everyone will treat it kindly. Some people may start offering you investment advice, others might start asking for loans, or even judge you unfairly. Sadly, a few might even see you as an easy target for scams or financial manipulation. And that's the last thing you deserve after a lifetime of hard work. The truth is, keeping financial matters private helps you stay in control. It allows you to make decisions at your own pace, without outside pressure or opinions. It also protects your sense of independence. There's dignity in knowing that your financial life belongs only to you and the trusted few you choose to include, like a financial advisor, your spouse, or a close family member who genuinely helps manage things. Everyone else doesn't need to know what's in your bank account or how you handle your expenses. Think of it this way, your financial privacy is part of your personal security. The less people know, the less they can interfere. This doesn't mean you should hide every detail, but it does mean you should share wisely. You've spent decades earning and saving, your peace of mind is worth protecting. Many seniors have learned this lesson the hard way. Some opened up about their savings or retirement plans and ended up surrounded by people who wanted a share or business ideas. Others talked too openly about their debts and began to feel embarrassed or judged. But when they decided to keep those matters private, they felt more confident and free. So, if you ever feel like you need to talk about money, choose your listener carefully. A trusted financial professional or family member can offer guidance, but not everyone deserves to know your private struggles or your blessings. Protecting your financial privacy isn't selfish, it's smart. It keeps your dignity, your safety, and your independence right where they belong, in your hands. Point 2. Family conflicts. Now let's talk about something that touches every family, no matter where you live or how old you are, family conflicts. Every family has them. Disagreements between siblings, tension with adult children, misunderstandings about money, caregiving, or even old wounds that were never really healed. These things are part of life, but as we grow older, how we handle them becomes more important than ever. And one of the wisest choices you can make is to keep those conflicts private. It's natural to want to vent or explain your side when something hurts. Maybe your son hasn't called as often as he should. Maybe your daughter made a decision you didn't agree with. Or maybe your grandchildren don't visit as much anymore, and you feel forgotten. Talking about those things can bring temporary relief, but when you share too much with neighbors, friends, or distant relatives, it often leads to gossip and misunderstanding. People repeat stories, twist them around, and soon the problem becomes bigger than it was. And instead of feeling better, you end up with even more hurt feelings. There's a saying, what happens in the family, stays in the family. That doesn't mean you have to suffer in silence. It simply means your family matters deserve care, not public exposure. When you share your private issues with too many people, you give away control of the story, and sometimes, you make it harder for healing to happen. If your children or relatives find out you've been talking about them to others, they might feel embarrassed, angry, or betrayed, even if that wasn't your intention. So, what can you do instead? When you're upset, talk to someone who can truly help, not someone who just listens to gossip. Maybe it's a counselor, a pastor, or a trusted friend who keeps things private. You can even write your thoughts in a journal, or pray about it if you're spiritual. These ways allow you to release emotions without spreading them into the world where they can do more harm than good. I know it's hard when you're carrying family pain. But protecting your family's privacy is a way of protecting your dignity, too. It shows strength, wisdom, and grace. It tells your children and grandchildren that you value unity more than pride. When you speak carefully and avoid airing private arguments, you help your family heal faster and you keep your own peace intact. At this stage in life, people look up to you, not just as a parent or grandparent, but as the wise one in the family. The example you set today will shape how the next generation handles their own conflicts tomorrow. Keep those private matters close to your heart, and deal with them quietly, with love and wisdom. That's how you build a legacy of peace, not pain. Point 3. Past mistakes. Let's talk about something that many older adults struggle with quietly, the past. As the years go by, it's natural to look back on life and think about the choices you made, the things you wish you'd done differently, or the people you may have hurt along the way. We all carry memories that make us sigh and say, if only I knew then what I know now. But one of the most powerful lessons in later life is learning that not every part of your past needs to be shared. You might feel that talking about your mistakes shows honesty and humility, and sometimes it does. But when you share too many personal details, especially with people who don't truly know your heart, it can make them see you differently. Instead of seeing your wisdom, they might focus only on your regret. They might even pity you, when what you really deserve is respect for everything you've learned and overcome. Think about it this way, your past was the classroom that taught you how to live with strength today. You don't need to reopen every old chapter for others to understand your story. You've already paid the price, learned the lesson, and earned your peace. Talking too openly about mistakes, especially with casual friends or acquaintances, can sometimes reopen wounds that were already healed. It can also make you relive pain that doesn't need to visit you again. This doesn't mean you should bury your past or pretend it never happened. It simply means you can share it wisely. There's a big difference between telling a story that inspires and one that drains your spirit. For example, instead of saying, I made a mess of my life, you can say, I learned how to stand up again after falling. You're still being honest, but now you're sharing your strength instead of your sorrow. I once heard someone say, the past is a place to learn from, not to live in. That couldn't be truer for this stage of life. You've lived, loved, lost, and grown, that's something to be proud of. You don't owe anyone the details of your pain. What matters now is what those experiences made you become, wiser, calmer, and more compassionate. When you protect your past, you protect your peace. You give people the chance to see the strong, graceful person you are now, not the mistakes you made years ago. Remember, your story isn't defined by where you fell, it's defined by how you rose. The best chapters of your life may still be ahead, and you get to write them with the confidence that comes from wisdom, not regret. Point 4. Health struggles in detail. As we get older, conversations about health naturally become part of our daily lives. It's normal to talk about doctor visits, blood pressure, joint pain, or the latest medication changes. After all, these are real parts of aging, and sometimes, sharing them can bring comfort. But here's something to remember, not every detail of your health needs to be shared with everyone. The more you talk about your health struggles in detail, the more others may begin to see you only through that lens, instead of seeing the full, vibrant person you still are. You've lived a long life filled with stories, experiences, and wisdom. You're much more than your medical chart. But when every conversation turns into a list of aches, treatments, and problems, people may start to pull away, not because they don't care, but because it becomes emotionally heavy. Sometimes, without realizing it, we make our illnesses the center of our identity. And when that happens, it can make others forget the laughter, humor, and light that also live inside you. This doesn't mean you shouldn't talk about your health at all. Of course, it's important to be open with your doctors, your caregivers, and your close family who help you manage your care. But when you share every little detail with neighbors, acquaintances, or people at church or social gatherings, it can change the way they interact with you. They might start to see you as the one who's always unwell, instead of the wonderful person you've always been. You deserve to be remembered for your wisdom, not your ailments. You have so much more to give than stories about hospital visits or pain. When you choose to focus your conversations on what brings you joy, your garden, your grandchildren, your memories, you lift not only your own spirit but also the people around you. That's how you remind the world that aging isn't just about decline, it's about grace, growth, and perspective. I know some days are harder than others. Pain and illness can make it difficult to stay positive. But protecting your health privacy helps you keep a sense of control and dignity. It allows you to focus on what still works well rather than what doesn't. Talk about your challenges when it's truly necessary, but also give space for laughter, faith, and gratitude. Remember, your life is not defined by test results or medications. It's defined by the heart you carry, the love you've given, and the wisdom you share. Speak of your health only when needed, but let your spirit do the talking the rest of the time. Point 5. Private resentments. Let's talk about one of the heaviest things people carry as they get older, resentment. It might be anger towards someone who hurt you years ago, disappointment about how life turned out, or a grudge that's been sitting quietly in your heart for decades. Maybe someone wronged you and never apologized. Maybe you gave your best to people who didn't appreciate it. Whatever the story is, holding on to resentment feels like protecting yourself, but in reality, it only weighs you down. At this stage in life, peace matters more than being right. You've earned the right to live calmly, not to keep reliving old pain. When you speak too openly about your resentments, how someone betrayed you, how your family didn't treat you fairly, how a friend disappeared when you needed them, it doesn't really free you. It just keeps the wound fresh. People who listen may start to see you as bitter or unhappy, even if that's not who you truly are. And soon, your presence becomes tied to those negative stories instead of your kindness, wisdom, and humor. That's not what your life should be remembered for. You've faced challenges, yes, but you've also survived them. That's strength. Talking about old anger again and again doesn't change what happened, it only takes energy away from the joy you could still be living. Forgiveness doesn't mean you agree with what was done. It simply means you're done letting it steal your peace. You might think, why should I forgive when they never said sorry? The truth is, forgiveness isn't for them, it's for you. It gives you emotional freedom. It opens the door for laughter, love, and connection to come back into your life. When you stop talking about old wounds and start focusing on gratitude, everything feels lighter. People around you begin to see your calm spirit again, and you start to feel it, too. If you ever find yourself wanting to talk about the past, try to speak from a place of wisdom instead of hurt. Say, I've learned not to let anger live in my heart, instead of, I'll never forgive what they did. That one shift changes how people see you, and how you feel inside. Remember this, resentment grows heavier with time, but peace grows lighter with love. You've lived too much life to let old pain define your final chapters. Let go of what hurt you and hold on to what heals you. Your calmness, your kindness, and your grace, those are the legacies you deserve to leave behind. As we wrap up this conversation, I want you to take a quiet moment and think about what we've talked about today. Life teaches us that wisdom isn't always in what we share, sometimes, it's in what we protect. The older we get, the more we realize that peace doesn't come from telling the world everything about our struggles, our family, our health, or our past. It comes from holding certain things close to the heart and choosing who truly deserves to hear them. In this video, we've talked about 5 private matters: financial struggles, family conflicts, past mistakes, health details, and resentments, all of which can affect how people see you and how you see yourself. When you guard these parts of your life, you aren't hiding, you're honoring yourself. You're saying, my story matters, and I get to choose how it's told. That's a sign of strength, not weakness. So, as you move forward, think about what you want to protect, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. What parts of your life deserve peace instead of exposure? Which stories belong only to you? Take pride in your privacy. Let it be a reflection of your calm strength, your self-respect, and your maturity. And now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 5 private matters do you think is the hardest to protect, or the most important? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. You might be surprised how many people feel the same way you do. Thank you for spending this time with me. If you found these insights helpful, please like this video, share it with a friend, and subscribe for more conversations that celebrate the wisdom of aging gracefully. Remember, your dignity, your peace, and your story are worth protecting. Always.